News at 5 and happening right now. The D.C. Council is debating several bills, including a multi-billion-dollar deal for RFK Stadium. Thank you for joining us on WUSA 9 and streaming on WUSA 9 Plus. I'm Leslie Foster. And Zoe, you're out there too, covering this in a very big way.
Yeah, that's right, Les. We've been following this debate over the stadium deal for months now. We know it could bring the Commanders back to the district, and now that it is under D.C. control. Now, here's what's happening right now. They just started talking about the RFK Stadium deal about 15 minutes ago, and that's not the only thing up for discussion today. Another bill up for a vote would extend Mayor Muriel Bowser's summer youth curfew through the end of the school year. The council is also expected to vote on a new collective bargaining agreement and pay raise for D.C. police, and members are also weighing changes to the Tenant Opportunity to Purchase Act, or TOPA as it's called, the law that lets tenants buy their building before it's offered to outside buyers. But clearly a lot to talk about. That's why we have team coverage here. Our chief investigative reporter, Eric Flack, is looking at what's ahead when it comes to the RFK Stadium deal. But I want to begin with our Rafael Sanchez-Cruz. Rafa, you've been there in council chambers for the last couple of hours now. So what's happening at this moment?
Yeah, Lorenzo, before I just stepped out, some of the council members were addressing some of the technical changes that are included in this new legislation. A lot of the, tweaks that they're doing, they're going word for word, really analyzing the bill that's before them. But before today's hearing even started, the D.C. Council Chairman Phil Mendelson actually met with the Commanders. We're told that Ward 6 council member Charles Allen was also part of that conversation before the meeting today. So right now, the D.C. Council is considering at least 12 amendments regarding the RFK Stadium deal. These potential changes are not new issues. They're topics that came up during the first vote, like stricter deadlines and penalties if the Commanders don't deliver on the 6,000 housing units included in the project on time. Now, Commanders President Mark Klaus has said these last-minute demands jeopardize the deal entirely. But it seems like the NFL team has conceded to some environmental concerns. This is what Chairman Mendelson had to say after the conversation with the Commanders.
There's a commitment to strive toward a LEED Platinum stadium. It's not the same as being certified LEED Platinum. They also are committed, they sent a letter today that said that they're committed to saving as many of the heritage trees, and they're committed to taking steps to eliminate any solid waste from the stadium. That's more than most stadiums.
Now, after those statements, Mendelson did tell me, I think we're okay, meaning he thinks they have the 7 votes necessary to move this forward, to get this deal done, and to really give that victory to Mayor Muriel Bowser. We'll have more regarding these ongoing negotiations here at the Wilson Building, particularly when it comes to the amendments. We're expected to hear a lot of heated debate. They're saying they're turning up the heat to really deliver for D.C. residents. We'll see which amendments actually make it through. I'm live at the Wilson Building. Like you, Zoe, back to you.
Yeah, we know a lot of council members also want what's best for their ward as well. Rafa, thank you. And today brought a lot of discussion and a lot of last-minute demands to this RFK agreement. And the Washington Commanders team president says these changes, well, they're a bit concerning. So President Mark Klaus, he sent a letter to Chairman Mendelson and members of the council earlier today saying, quote, less than 24 hours before the final vote, the Commanders organization was presented with a list of unworkable and impractical new last-minute demands by council members, which we simply cannot agree to as it jeopardizes the deal. He went on to say, quote, we urge you to honor our core agreement from only 1 month ago and move forward with the final approval. So clearly they want to get this done quickly. We're talking about billions of dollars here in terms of the deal here, and $1 billion from city taxpayers. Our chief investigative reporter, Eric Flack, you've been following this for us, and a lot at stake, a lot of conversations still happening there in council chambers. So what happens if this is approved?
Yeah, and I think Commanders kind of have a foot in both things, right? They kind of have a foot in today making sure DC Council approves this, but they're already looking towards what's next with making sure this stadium project gets off the ground immediately, because in their eyes, time has already been wasted as we've gone through this process. Now, there are a couple of big regulatory things that the Commanders are going to have to go through. One, they're going to have to get approval from the National Capital Planning Commission. That's kind of a regulatory review board that deals with projects that are just good for for the overall Washington, D.C. region. There's also the Capital Fine Arts Commission. That's more of an architectural, does this design in fact look like it fits in Washington, D.C., and does it fit with the code of Washington, D.C.? I did speak with sources who say the team is working on a design. They don't have anything finalized yet, but the plans are in the works. They intend, assuming everything goes well here, to start laying the utility in the spring as RFK, as we know, continues. The old one continues to come down, and they hope to put shovels in the ground sometime next fall with the intention of still getting this stadium open by 2030.
Yeah, you talk about these regulations, this regulatory process. That is critical when it comes to housing. We know that has been a sticking point here. And we heard from Chairman Middleton days before saying, people want these, thousands of units available quickly, but some of this area has to be rezoned as well.
That's right, and the zoning process is also part of this regulatory process that the team is going to have to go through. I mean, they're going to have to get regulatory approval and zoning changes.
And that takes years.
And it takes years, but I mean, I think they believe that they've been kind of walking and chewing gum at the same time, meaning they've been working to get this project approved by DC Council, but at the same time, they've been working to make sure that the other parts of the process, the regulatory process, they're not starting from ground zero tonight as presumably this proposal gets approved by DC
So they started
Council.
talking about this at 4:45. We're 20 minutes in,
It
and
could
a
be
lot of
a long
folks are
night.
bringing up these new amendments.
New amendments
it seems
all
a
the
little
time.
late for that, considering they have to vote today.
And that's been part of the frustration from the chair is, he's hearing from certain council members. Zachary Parker just brought up an amendment to an amendment.
Wow.
The chair was like literally looking at the clock saying, this is a little late to be talking about this now, but they're kind of, doing this on the fly. Everybody says they want the best thing for the city and for their constituents. And so this could be a long process as they work towards, especially some of the more prickly issues that are still facing the team. But it sounds like some of these environmental issues have been worked out.
Yeah, and we heard from the team president there, the commanders, basically saying, we're done, get this done. You had your first vote. We came to the table.
You
with
could hear the
everything we could give you.
frustration in that letter.
In the letter, you
could hear the frustration.
All right, Flack, we'll let you get back inside.
All right.
Thank you, my friend. And
All right,
we'll be expecting this debate to continue on for several more hours. And Les, we will let you know when it's all done, when it's a done deal. I'll send it back to you.
And we'll be there every step of the way, and we'll be checking back with you in our next half hour. So if anything breaks before then, let us know. Give us that high sign, and we'll come right back. Also ahead, of course, at 5:30, we'll take a closer look at the other bills the